have chosen to serve people in the form of being a relationship coach.
Oh, all right. How exciting.
Thank you. And I do this through the teachings of masculine and feminine energies and the dichotomy of that in relationships. So,
Yes.
is there, I want to make sure that I'm not spreading any misinformation. I was wondering if you could clarify how the duality of masculine and feminine energies applies to the relationship dynamics romantically.
Well, the idea is for each side to be reflected what they need to allow for a balance to occur on each side of both masculine and feminine energy in each individual. Does that make sense?
So if is it correct to say that I guess men operating from more feminine or wounded feminine energy are imbalanced and therefore need to attract partners that will reflect that imbalance?
The idea is that each male and each female contains the ability of the opposite, contains the reflections of the opposite. And to balance them and bring them out equally in each individual is the key. So that males have a balance of masculine and feminine energy, not meaning that they literally become more feminine, but they are able and willing to express more of the receptive energies, whereas the females in balance can express more of the idea of the assertive energies that are commonly associated with males on your planet. So that each individual in the relationship is a balance of both. And they will usually attract into their lives, whether they know it or not, whether they take advantage of it or not, those individuals who will reflect to each what they need to achieve that balance within themselves.
When that balance is reached, is that usually when partners stay together or
Maybe it doesn't mean that they have to. It can be that that was what they needed to achieve and then they move on to something else. So it's not necessarily absolutely expected that they have to stay together, but there is certainly a higher probability that they can if they continue to serve each other in that way. Does that help?
absolutely yes?
All right.
Is there a technique or strategy that I can use as a coach in my one-on-one sessions to best reflect back to my clients what they need to know at that time to help them reframe their mindset to move forward?
Well, you can ask them what their definition of the opposite energy is, and you can get them to explore any fear based beliefs that surround it so they can be willing to let those fear based beliefs go about the incorporation of the duality. Does that make sense?
Um, could you clarify it a bit?
In other words, let's say you are, for example, dealing with a male individual who is exhibiting a lot of masculine energy, but not very much of the feminine side. You can engage them in a conversation to ask them what their definition would be, how they see, how they view, how they define the idea, what it means to them if they were to incorporate more of the feminine energy within themselves, to see if their definition is something that actually is representative of balance, or if their definition out of fear is representative of something that is not in balance, that they have an erroneous definition of what that balance would look like, so that you can begin to explore what their definitions of the balance would actually be like, so that they can lose the fear of incorporating the balance within themselves by having a more harmonious definition of what would happen should they do so. Did that make more sense?
Yes, and in the case where a male that is has less feminine heart-centered energy, and I run into this problem where clients don't often experience emotions and are shut down. I don't know how to help guide them through that situation through online interactions.
All right, well, again, the questions is fundamentally, what are they afraid would happen if they actually allowed themselves to feel those emotions? What are they afraid the outcome of that would be? to get them to start exploring, if they're willing to start exploring what the outcomes they're afraid would happen if they did, in fact, allow their emotions to be more expressed. And then perhaps you will have some information to go off of, if they're willing to admit it.
Okay.
If they're not, there's not much you can do for them.
How how does one know when they found that partner? So I know I've seen a video where you said that the purpose of relationships is to reflect one another what one needs to know to become more of themselves. How do you know that you are the version of yourself that is ready to commit and has learned that lesson?
You will feel freer, you will feel lighter in the presence of a person who serves you that way if you're willing to be open to it. You will actually feel more like yourself. You have heard this phrase on your planet uttered in those kinds of relationships where people say, I feel more like me in your presence. I feel I can be expressive of who I truly am when you're around. That kind of feeling is usually a reflection of when someone is serving you to be more of yourself, because they are not judging you, they are accepting you for who you are and accepting whatever processes you may need to go through to discover more clearly who you are. And so that usually translates as feeling free to be yourself in that relationship, whatever that means at the moment. Free to explore being more. It's a lightness of feeling. It's a lightness and feeling of freedom.
Okay.
Does that
Um,
help you at all?
yes, that was very beautiful and poetic. I loved it.
All right.
Um, how accurate is using astrology? Is
It
it something
depends on
that
the person. It depends on the person. Remember that all things in physical reality are permission slips. Some permission slips work for people and some don't. It depends on whether it aligns with your belief system. If it does, it will work for you. If you're attracted to use it, the attraction is usually a sign that it's aligning with your belief system and will work for you. Ultimately, of course, you realize you are the ultimate permission slip because you're the one making the changes anyway. And that eventually you no longer need the permission slip itself to make those changes. But it can illuminate sometimes and reflect to you some of the things that are going on within your consciousness because you believe it is something that can work for you. So it depends on the person and what their belief system is about that particular permission slip. And remember, all those things are reflections, they're not causes.
okay. My last question is, what do I need to know at this moment that will help me in my journey of helping others through what I do?
What you need to know is that a healer simply provides an opportunity to explore options that the person needing to be healed needs to match and align with in order to heal themselves. A healer never heals anyone directly, but they give the person the opportunity to heal themselves. Whatever a person does with whatever it is you share with them is none of your business. You have done all you can just by providing the option and the opportunity to match the frequency you're giving off in order for that person to decide to heal themselves. It's not that they have to do that, and many people may come to you with different agendas, including the inability to heal themselves. So you have still given them what they came for. So you have to relax the idea that you need to heal everyone and save everyone, because you can't do that. You can only provide them with the option that someday they may incorporate within themselves when they are ready to do so. Does that lighten the issue for you?
Yes. Thank you so much, Bashar.
You are so welcome. Aveo.
Hello, Bashar from Switzerland. I had a question regarding the hybridization agenda that you mentioned, that we can choose to become the sixth hybrid race. And I'm asking what is so beneficial for us to become this hybrid race, since we are mixing our DNA with a race that went through a negative path. Of course, they went through a big transformation, but what are we gaining from becoming this hybrid race, since we are receiving a lot of downloads and information from you, But in terms of the DNA exchange, what is the win situation for us? Thank you for your reply. Have a nice day.
You have a misunderstanding. You are not mixing DNA with a group that went through a negative path. You're mixing with the hybrids who have never experienced that path. The grays experience the negativity, but the hybrids have not. Therefore, you are mixing with a different form of humanity that has never experienced negativity. That is what helps you uplift. That is what raises your vibration, is taking advantage of the information and perspectives of a group of beings that are a different form of human that have only experienced the idea of positive vibrations that move you forward in your evolutionary path to becoming the sixth hybrid race, which is simply another way of saying that you are functioning fully, more fully as human beings, which most of you actually aren't yet fully human.
Hello, Bashar and everyone.
Good day, good day.
I had a dream that I'd like to get your insight on.
All right.
I was traveling to and moving into an abandoned southwestern home. I went to the kitchen and opened up a rectangular door about 3 foot long, and there was a diminutive alien skeleton in it that was glowing orange, had an orange metallic tunic, Native American beads, a feather headdress with red, white, blue, yellow, orange feathers that were mottled. It certainly wasn't of this world. I opened the oven and another skeleton was in flames, but I don't think it was being consumed. This felt like a very deeply sacred and spiritual experience that I felt honored to be a part of. And it's just kind of baffled me. It just impacted me so much. Do you have any thoughts or comments?
Yes. What you experience to some degree is a recognition and a perception of the interaction between some ancient extraterrestrial beings and the indigenous tribes of your Southwest in the past. Many indigenous tribes, many indigenous peoples on your planet have had contact with extraterrestrial and extra-dimensional beings for hundreds, if not thousands of years. The irony is that while many people on your planet are waiting for open contact, many indigenous peoples have had open contact for quite a long time. It's just that in their cultures, they don't necessarily share that readily with other cultures who don't know that's going on. And in the cultures that don't know it's going on, their belief systems often prevent them from accepting the fact that that's been happening in the indigenous cultures. So, on one level, you're perceiving the fact that this has been going on for quite some time. You're picking up on some very ancient vibrations, ancient encounters, represented by the blending of those ET forms with ancient Atlantean and Aztecan kinds of regalia that they are wearing, which represents the idea of the blending and the interactions and connections between the two, and how many ancient indigenous peoples are actually the ancestors of some of those extraterrestrial beings. The idea of the being on fire in the oven is a representation of the kind of power and energy that they bring with them in coming from one dimension, one reality, to another. You are perceiving a connection between your physical reality and a different reality being expressed to you in those symbolic forms with connections to these ancient extraterrestrial consciousnesses. Does that help you?
Yes, wow, that's so powerful. Thank you.
Yes.
Um, in December of 2010, I woke up and received a download, and it was elements of this incredible story, an iconic mythical figure of modern times that has a connection with Atlantis. And I could see this story being like a combination of the magic of Harry Potter with the intrigue of the Da Vinci Code and an epic tale of Lord of the Rings. I could
All right.
see this story being shared um, to share spiritual context concepts in an entertaining way. I've spent years researching Atlantis, the Tuatha De Danann, High Brazil, ancient civilizations, megalithic cultures, and I'm just stuck. I've not been able to write. I'm a good writer, but I write usually like marketing materials. Fiction and character development, I'm just having a hard time. But my research has led me to you. And I'm just wanting to know, maybe is my purpose to the journey to be here, or am I to write this? I'm stuck. I don't know what to do.
All right, you can write it, but are you familiar with the idea of story structure?
Well, no, not really.
All right. So it might be of assistance to you to investigate the concept of story structure because in the telling of any tale, in the telling of any story, it is highly critical, highly important to make sure you are following story structure because story structure is built into the psyche of humanity. And if you tell a story with the salient points, the salient, shall we say, beats of a story structure that are built into your psyche, then people will remember the story. It will feel authentic. If you miss any of those beats, it won't feel authentic. It won't resonate. This is why stories last for thousands of years, because if the pattern is followed of story structure, it resonates with that structure in all of your psyches. So we would suggest that you investigate the idea of story structure and follow that general outline. Get used to the understanding of what kind of beats need to be in a story, how they need to be presented, when they need to be presented. Then you can loosen up the structure a little bit according to the way your intuition will drive the story forward. But following the structure in general is highly important to tell the story in the correct way. Since you don't have a framework for what story structure is, that may be where you're getting slowed down.
Yeah. Yeah, it was some great elements, but I just don't know how to proceed. I
All
have a
right.
main character, but I don't have anything else. So,
All right. Well, again, story structure can inform you as to what the main character needs to go through in order for it to seem relevant to your readers. You may avail
yeah.
yourself of many books that exist in your society about story structure, one of the most popular being the idea called The Hero's Journey by Joseph Campbell.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm familiar with that one. So, yes.
Have you
Thank
read
you.
it? Have you read it?
No, but I am familiar with Joseph Campbell. I've read several of his books. So,
All right. Well, you have not read The Hero's Journey then?
no.
All right. That is the one specifically that outlines the idea of story structure.
Mhm.
You can
Yes,
also
I'll look into that.
you can also avail yourself of several that are connected to the idea of the film industry because they also talk about the importance of story structure even though it may be presented in filmic terms.
Yeah.
So,
Great. Thank you.
familiarize
Thank you
yourself
so
with that.
much.
And when you understand the story structure, it will inform your character and inform you as to what your character needs to experience.
Wonderful. So after this download, I made a commitment to it that I would follow wherever that took me. And a
Yes.
few months later, my longtime marriage ended. And just kind of to summarize briefly, I kind of went into a dark night of the soul. Um,
How
one morning I
exciting.
woke up and there was an energetic presence.
Yes.
And immediately Paul McCartney's song, Let It Be, when I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary will come to me. And I just got this overwhelming sense of unconditional love. And
Yes.
then a few minutes later, I had a vision of a woman in a scarlet dress, who was a very strong, spirited woman, but also very loving. And these experiences just baffled me. A couple of days later, I was, I was in a state of well-being and bliss immediately, but that lasted a couple of days. And so I know knew this was real because my reality had been completely altered.
Yes. It's up to you to continue the vibration once you've been exposed to it. All you have to do is remember what that felt like when that vision came to you, and you're actually back in that frequency, even though it may feel different.
What is the origin of these I just called it energetic presence, but
Yes, but you called upon the idea of Mary as a reflection, but not the Mother Mary. You called upon the Magdalene,
okay. Okay.
hence the scarlet
Wonderful.
dress.
Yes, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Thus,
Final oh, go ahead.
yes, thus the idea of standing within your self empowerment, being the one to tell the stories, being the one to hold the information, the one to spread it among the people. This is what the Magdalene was responsible for, in taking the information that was provided by the individual known as Jesus and spreading it among the disciples. The Magdalene was the primary disciple responsible for spreading the information. So you are
Wow.
calling upon her fortitude to spread the information that you need to spread. She is encouraging you to move forward with that.
Wow. Wow. Final question.
Yes,
So I live in an area in Southern Illinois that's nicknamed Little Egypt.
yes,
We have a Luxor, towns named Luxor, Thebes, Karnak, Cairo.
yes,
Comically, also, I live in a town um, that had the motto "Hub of the Universe."
yes,
I live in a small town. Not Midwest, not hub of the earth or galaxy, hub of the universe.
yes.
Is this just small town egocentric thinking, or is there something to this and the Little Egypt theme?
You know there is something to it, and that's why you're there. So it helps you with your connections, the connections you have made to aid and assist you in this life to move forward in your themes of exploration and your expression of your passion. So it gives you a kind of a center balance point from which you can expand yourself, from which you can express yourself. So it is usable and recognizable as the energy of a vortex that you can draw upon to center yourself, balance yourself, and come from your center to be the hub of your universe.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bashar. I'm so grateful and grateful for our community here.
Our deep appreciation to you as well. Please move forward with your truth.
Thank you.
Good day.